We are joined here with our leader of the BJC WashU School of Medicine Healthcare Innovation Lab, Dr. Tom Maddox, to talk to us about a new appointment that he has had in the last year supporting some really exciting work in digital health. My name is Ali Cazador. I'm the director for the Healthcare Innovation Lab. Really happy to have you here to learn a little bit more about this exciting appointment and what it means for the future of healthcare. Dr. Maddox, would you introduce yourself to our audience here and your work with the newly set up Digital Health Advisory Committee through the FDA?
Sure, and thanks for the invite. I'm Tom Maddox. I lead the Healthcare Innovation Lab at BJC and WashU. I'm also a practicing cardiologist and a professor on faculty at the Washington University School of Medicine. And the appointment we're talking about is with the FDA. They have a newly formed Digital Health Advisory Committee, and I'm one of 9 voting members on this committee. It's a 4-year term, and it's one of many advisory committees that the FDA has. As most of you probably know, the FDA is responsible for regulating foods and medicines for the United States to make sure that they're safe and effective doing what their companies and marketers promote that they're doing. And so they've had a variety of committees over time. They've advised them on pharmaceuticals or medical devices or other things that are part of the healthcare system. But as they've started to recognize the growing importance of digital health in the delivery of healthcare, they decided they also needed an advisory committee to inform the commissioner and the FDA staff on the best way to think about and regulate digital health devices. So our mandate is large. The digital health definition is broad. It speaks to a variety of technologies, be it wearables, telehealth, other communication approaches, even aspects of EHRs that can be used to collect, analyze, deliver digital information and communicate digitally between care teams, between patients, between anybody trying to receive healthcare. And so as a result, the FDA has impaneled this group to periodically come together, talk about emerging new digital health approaches and how might the FDA think about its regulation of them.
Great. So, Tom, as you and this committee think through the future of healthcare, are there certain goals over this 4-year appointment that you're really focused on, or what would mean success for this committee over the next 4 years?
Yeah, I think our goal as a committee is to provide a fairly representative perspective of the various digital health stakeholders to inform the FDA and for them to create the regulations that they use to govern the deployment of digital health nationally. So I'd certainly feel, proud and happy if our recommendations were part of that process and that we saw really effective regulation that would ensure that digital health is being deployed responsibly and safely, but also that the regulation isn't so onerous that it stifles innovation, which is sort of the lifeblood of digital health. And so I think that seeing that outcome would certainly make me and my fellow committee members really pleased and feel like our time was well spent.
It's tremendous. And as you think about taking that knowledge back into the BJC and WashU School of Medicine environment, how is this helping our organization as we even learn more about digital health and how it can serve our patients and our communities?
Yeah, I think it's probably a bi-directional relationship. I think one of the reasons that I was selected is that I can provide some perspectives, both as a practicing physician, but also with my work in the innovation lab. And so being able to take our experiences to the FDA and say, this is what we're discovering when we deploy digital health devices and approaches and care models into the real world, this is where we potentially see a potential safety issue or see a problem with getting maximum value or effectiveness of a particular approach. And so by having that perspective, the FDA can take that under advisement. And when they're thinking about constructing regulation or standards of evidence they need, they can sort of take that perspective into the consideration of their policies. I think the other direction is, as we're starting to hear from the FDA about where they might construct regulation and where we might need to be thinking about accommodating that as we deploy digital health at BJC and WashU for our patients, we'll have probably a little bit of an early heads up about what we need to think about, the kind of evidence we need to have, the safety monitoring programs that we might need in place just to ensure that the deployment of digital health is being done as responsibly as possible.
Great. And I know it's a difficult question, but if you had a crystal ball, what do you think is going to happen with digital health in our future? And what might you give our readers and our viewers some insights on as they think about digital health in their environments?
Yeah, I think it's quite clear that as wearables and telemedicine in particular have, in my opinion, graduated from infancy to maybe toddler status and are really being baked into the operations of healthcare systems, not only here in St. Louis, but around the country and even the world. I think those are going to need to be continually monitored for effectiveness and actually equity. I think we're going to need to make sure that a lot of the really expensive digital technologies that are really promising in what they can do in terms of expanding access to convenience aren't leaving those who have less resource to afford the smartphones or afford the data plans, that we aren't leaving them behind. So that'll be really important. I think the other emerging area, and this is what our most recent meeting was about, is in the realm of AI, and in particular, generative AI. And some of the more unique nuances of this particular digital health technology is it's not static at all. In fact, it changes every single time you touch a GPT or a generative AI model. And so with something that is so dynamic and in such contrast to a more static medical device like a pacemaker or a more static pharmaceutical like a pill, that basically the pills we take today were pretty much the same ones that they were a year ago or 5 years ago. The fact that we have a model that changes literally every time we use it means that we're going to have really robust post-marketing surveillance programs so that we can periodically monitor and check and make sure that, say, the advice of an AI chatbot, for example, continues to give reliable and accurate medical information for somebody who might be using it. And then if we find that there are issues with inaccuracies or hallucinations or potentially giving harmful information, that we can very quickly identify that and then intervene to ensure that it's not causing any particular harm. So I think these are probably all things that we'll start to see more and more perspective and policy come from the FDA about this. It'll also be interesting to see what happens with the administration change. We've heard already that this administration wants a less of a regulatory oversight in many areas of government, and I suspect that will extend to healthcare as well. We're fortunate to have worked with the incoming commissioner, assuming he gets confirmed, Marty McCary, and I think he does have a pretty balanced role. So I'm hopeful that balanced view will continue in the coming 4 years and beyond as we think about how do we effectively harness the really exciting potential of digital health, but as with everything in healthcare, do it in a responsible way that helps our patients.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, with that, Dr. Tom Maddox, thank you so much for spending some time with us to talk about this exciting appointment, the great work that you all are doing, and how that is going to inform the future of digital health in healthcare. So thank you again for our readers, our viewers. Continue to stay engaged with us as we learn more. We'll continue to update you as we learn more from Dr. Maddox and his appointment on the FDA's Digital Health Advisory Committee. Take care.